Hello and thank you for joining us, Two Pondering Pagans. I'm Rook.
And I'm Salann.
And today we're going to follow up with a short follow-up video to a topic we broached in one of our previous videos, and that's about encountering paganism, other pagan practitioners at work, or people who are not so pagan friendly at work.
Right, and I think a lot of it will kind of gear towards talking about not necessarily just, having some visibility at work with your paganness or your witchiness, how you can maybe do it a little bit discreetly if you want to let others know that, you connect to something, but do it discreetly. And then when some people don't mean good to us.
Yeah, so I've actually had a couple of experiences with magical practitioners at work. I'm a nursing home administrator in a prior facility. I found a voodoo doll in the lampshade in my office. We did have at the time a large population of Haitian employees. So in Haiti, the predominant religion has historically been Christianity, mainly Roman Catholic. There's also a presence in Haiti, or a practice I should say, of combining many different philosophies, religion, and practices. One such combination is Vodou or Voodoo, and it combines the West African religions of the African slaves with Catholicism and Native American strands. It shows similarities to the Cuban Santeria. I was actually lucky because one of my managers practiced Santeria, and when she heard what happened, she told me what to do. So I removed the doll from my office. I took it home outside. I didn't bring it in. I urinated on the doll and then buried it. And afterwards, I didn't have any issues or effects from it. I also used a liquid sage spray to clear my office of any residual negativity that could have persisted.
So how did you know it was a voodoo doll? Was it somebody at work that helped you figure that out, or?
Yeah, I actually found it, and it looked like a puppet or a doll with, things in it, pins and markings and stains.
And do you think it was directed to you, or perhaps somebody that was maybe there before you, or do you just not sure?
Not sure. I just know I wanted to get it out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It could have been towards the previous person or persons that were there before. But I didn't want to take a chance, and I got it out because the building as a whole had a lot of negative energy, negative people, and so I didn't know where it came from. Excuse me. At another facility I worked at, I noticed for a while, for a long time, that the building seemed to be blocked from growth or moving ahead, moving forward. Myself and several new managers that I had hired have been putting in long hours to move the building ahead with customer service, with census, just all around. Despite our hard work, suspicious things started happening. I started getting complaint calls from the hospital, from the case manager, which was abnormal for no reason. It was just very suspicious. Well, after the third time I got these calls, I said, enough is enough. I'd look into things, and the complaints weren't founded or didn't happen or were just ludicrous. So I knew that something was amiss, and I felt that it had to be an inside job. Someone or someone's in the facility were trying to sabotage the growth or cause issues. It just happens that around that same time, I had gone to see my first medium. And in the reading, she brought up work without prompting. I didn't tell her anything about work. I was actually there to find out how to connect with my guides, or who my guide, that little voice that tells me don't do this, or, encouragement to do it, who that was. And she had brought up work. And that there was a person that was causing trouble for me. And she described this person, the person's race, age, build, characteristics, and what kind of things she was doing. So that kind of, that validated for me what I had suspected. So I went back to work the following week with some Native American beads that she recommended. I put a bowl of salt on my desk to see and pay attention to who wouldn't be coming in, or around anymore. And I sprayed the door frames in my office and throughout the main parts of the building with Florida water. Well, about 2 weeks later, I had a dream that this specific person gave their resignation. And so another 2 weeks after my dream, it was very vivid and clear, and it woke me up about midnight. And I don't have a lot of those dreams. So it was very odd. 2 weeks after my dream, that person did turn in their resignation. So again, that validated what I thought, what the medium said, and that I wasn't crazy. My intuition had picked it up, that what was going on. So I kept the Native American beads, the salt bowl in my office, and still had the Florida water when I needed it. So that brings us to another thing, and I want to hear what you have to say about that. Should you have spiritual items or items of protection in the workplace?
So my thought process is, should it be an issue? No. I understand why people don't want to have any religious objects at work, and I understand why employers don't want you to have it, because people have difficulty tolerating other religions. So while I don't think it's a good idea to bring expressly religious items, there are still some things that you can do or display at work or carry with you that can have a spiritual meaning for you, but doesn't necessarily look or feel spiritual. So it's a little different than saying I'm going to hide my spirituality or my witchiness, but I'm also not going to set up things in a way that might make other people uncomfortable, especially if I'm in a position of control or a manager or a supervisor. Not because I'm afraid or because, it's holding back myself. It's just respect and understanding that not everybody's going to understand, and that's not necessarily an issue. Some of the things that I do, I carry stones. I am a crystal freak, so I always have stones with me. And sometimes if I have a really hard situation coming up, I've done this not too long ago, where I will make my own little bottle with certain things and herbs and spices and salts and intentions in it, and carry that with me during the meeting that's going to be difficult or having the hard conversation. I don't display it. I keep it in my pocket. I keep my hand around it. I don't have a desk. So I'm in a lot of different areas and I travel. So for me, I turn my hotel into a little spiritual area. But when I'm out and about, I always have a stone in my pocket. If I'm doing a presentation, I have Bumblebee Jasper with me every time, because it makes me remind myself to be confident in that energy balance of that high activity, high confidence. But there's quite a few things somebody could do if they have an office or a cubicle or at work, that they could have something spiritually meaningful to them and not have to be on display as a witch or something else. And I think, Rook, you have a couple of those things you'd share.
Yeah, mine's a little different than yours. I think you got to be kind of mindful, not, because to hide your spirituality, but again, you don't want to offend people, but you still want to be able to do your practice. My other part to it is that it was actually other spiritual people at work that were using that against me. So sometimes when people find out you're a spiritual, magical person, whatever they think you are, and maybe they know or maybe they don't, they actually, intervene to stop you from manifesting good things. So
yeah, that was my problem,
Yeah.
just trying to get me off centered, which they did a good job initially. Thankfully, don't let that hang out.
So like one thing I did, I left the bowl of salt on my desk, but instead of having my clusters of amethyst and real pretty nice spears and things. I didn't do that. I did keep them under my desk, but I had little, I have a little crow, my little guardian, a little figurine, and I would put that and a clear quartz, a small one, on top of hangings in my wall. Like it was one was the business license, one was my license, and I put them up there, and they're very discreet but still present. I also put some stones in my drawer. I have a little statue of Ganesh that I used to have on my desk. I put it in the windowsill so it's behind the blinds where it's not really just obvious to anybody walking in.
Yeah, and I think everybody likes candles, and a lot of workplaces you probably can't burn them.
Right.
But having an unburned candle, especially if it's white, with a sigil on the bottom of it, or in a container that has a scent that you're familiar with, that's comforting, is also another way you can have a little bit of pagan witchy at work. So,
some good ideas and good tips, and I'd be interested to know if anybody has experienced like I have, other spiritual people at work causing trouble, or like Salann, who have just had issues from other people that aren't really necessarily pagan or Wiccan, but have stirred up trouble.
yeah. So I don't have anything else to add. I hope you liked our short video. The idea was just to give a little bit more information on some of the things that we do to keep witchy at work, and bring the mundane world and the magic world together. So sorry for the fireworks. It's July 4th.
4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
And we are outside, so figured we would do it in our Fae garden that needs to be gardened, actually.
Yes, it does.
So, all right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, everybody.